Bassem, how do you explain how explosive and massive the reaction to your comments about what's happening in the Middle East were with Piers Morgan and all over the internet afterwards?
Well, there's two explanations. Number one, luck.
No such thing.
Number two, I'll be very honest about it. I think I told this to Piers on his show. There is a whole group of people in this world that they haven't had the chance to have their voice heard or their point of view came across. Because honestly, when our side of the story get brought up, they either being bullied into not putting out their words, or they get their buttons pushed, so we come up as angry brown people. I'll be very honest.
Sad but a harsh reality. What's going on, everybody? My name's Z. Welcome back to Zees Political Arrow. Strap in, because we're diving to a very interesting but explosive and informative conversation between Bassem Youssef and Chris on the Middle East politics, Piers Morgan, and a whole lot of emotional minefield. Everyone's shouting pro-Israel or pro-Palestine, but is anyone actually listening? The media is turning into a gladiator match, and the real discussions are getting drawn out. Mind you, this podcast is about 8 months old, but the ideology is still mostly prominent till today. So can we have a calm, honest conversation without it turning into a screaming match? Grab your popcorn, because this is about to get very interesting.
And the thing is, this whole topic in the Middle East is very emotional. So when you try, it's very difficult to navigate the thing, so not to fall into the emotional roller coaster and try to speak calmly. So that's why in the second interview, I was like trying to speak. I didn't want to score points. When I sit with someone, I don't want to prove that you're wrong. Because you're coming here. You've already had your mind made up over years and years and years. I'm not coming here to change your mind. I think that's the problem of how people get into the quarrels, because we put our egos ahead of us. Oh, it's like, I have to prove to him. It's like, I'm coming here. Let's say, for example, me and you, we talk about anything. I don't know, Israel, Palestine, the NBA, which team is better. I learned something that I need to come across to just explain my point of view, and it's up to you and up to the people watching and listening for them to decide for themselves.
Is that too idealistic, given the realities, not just in the Middle East, but in America? One of the problems we're having in processing what's happening there is that it's being filtered through the game of advantage between the two parties. It's not a coincidence that the pro-Palestinian and anything that even becomes exaggerated from that in America is all left. And on the right, you have the most staunch pro-Zionist, pro-Israeli. It's by design for advantage. Everything in America gets split down the middle. How do you break through that to get to a point of understanding?
Well, first of all, the problem is there's the problem of the media, because now people do not have any space for listening. So it's all about sound bites and just like who wins, and it's become sensational. It becomes like people in the Coliseum fighting. It's like, and then it's become die. There's no there's no space for a nuanced conversation. It's just like who gets the sound bites, who gets the thing. And I have to slightly disagree with you, because there's a lot of the pro-Zionists are on the left, big time. There's a lot of people who, like Joe Biden, he is a Democrat, and people are asking him just ceasefire. And a lot of people who are on the bankroll of AIPAC are actually Democrats. So it's not really a left-to-right thing. Yes.
Well, everybody was pro-Israel in America. Both parties, the leaders, the money, the influence was too great for anybody to abandon it. But don't you think that the right kind of edged ahead even before this most recent conflict, moving the consulate to Jerusalem, and Trump being so much more of a vocal BB ally, and much more so than Biden, certainly as a vestige of the Obama administration? It seems now that if you were to point to one of the two parties and say, which one is more pro-Israel, people would say the GOP, not the Democrats.
Absolutely. But there's two things. Number one, there's something about a little bit of a hypocritical side of how the GOP deals this, because most of the pro-Israel, pro-Zionist are anti-Semites. It's crazy.
You really believe they're anti-Semites?
Who can forget MTG, like about it, like the whole like Jewish laser guns. A lot of people pro-GOP will go out and say Jews will not replace us in Charlottesville. So there's this crazy split. And Netanyahu is friends with all of those people, the pro-Zionists, but they're very anti-Semite. They hate the Jews and they love Israel. And you know what they do that, right? It's
Why?
only because of the rapture, the second coming of Jesus. They are like, when we talk about Zionism, I don't even think about Jewish people, because most of the Jewish people are actually on our side. Jewish Voices for Peace. There's Bernie Sanders. It's not a Jewish thing. It is a Zionist thing. Most Zionist people are actually Christian Zionists, and they're pushing the whole world for a brink because of this. There's like this book called "Forcing God's Hands." Incredible book. It was written in 1998, and they're talking about the dispensationalists and how they basically made it a self-professing prophecy. And those people who believe in the second rapture, they believe that all Jews will be killed and only 144,000 people will remain, and they're all going to follow Christ. It is dogmatic and it's crazy in a country that is liberal and secular than the United States. So I talk about a lot to people in the Democratic Party, and they are very upset about the leadership, which is Biden, and how and Secretary Blinken, which is like a disgrace. I mean, we're gonna get to that like later, but it is yes, it is about part of it's right and left. But now, as much as I'm one of those people, I would vote blue no matter who. I will never give my voice to Biden after what he's done.
So then what do you do? If you're blue no matter who, and the who is Biden, and you won't vote for him, what do you do?
I will sit that one out, seriously. And it's crazy because I became an American citizen in this country, and I'm so happy to vote. And it took America 4 years to get checked out of the elections. Because if you are continue supporting a daily killing there, and you're not even like wanting to put the slightest effect to stop the killing, why would I vote for you? And then they come back and they blackmail us. It's like, but reproductive rights. At least if a woman in Tennessee cannot have reproductive, she can travel to California, New York to do it. Those people in Gaza have nowhere to go. So and it's always been like the Democratic Party blaming the minorities because the Democratic Party gave us the promise that we are on your side. But in reality, they are not, because here you have a war, 27,000 kids, 27,000 Palestinians killed, 100,000 being injured, 70% of the homes. You did this show with Abdul Jabbar, the father, and you gave him the space, and I really appreciate and this guy is an American citizen. He's not even in Gaza, and his son was killed for throwing, and he's not even throw the stone. And even if he threw a stone, he should not be killed. So
we don't know that he threw any stones.
But even if he did, does he deserve to get shot?
No. That should be simple. No, but I don't like the suggestion, not from you, but the father even put it out there that, they say he threw rocks. Look, the fact scenario doesn't make any sense. The lack of investigation, the things that he told me they said to him when they came to the house, he wanted his son's personal effects. He says one of the soldiers threw the wallet on the ground and said, go ahead, reach for it, and I'll send you the same place I sent your son. Mm-hmm. Now, he's probably lying. Well, why? This is his son. The guy's an American. He's not anti-America. He is American. I think that it's so easy for people. If I were to look at how people blame me for things, you're an IDF shill. You hate the Jews. It goes back and forth because we're in a place now where if I'm not agreeing with you all the time, I'm your enemy. And so many things, you use the word nuance. Yes, complex situations. If the Middle East isn't complex, what is? There's never a single factor explanation. Here's a thing I've been thinking about lately on this, but I don't want to lose my point, which is, don't you need a platform? I know you're doing shows, Bessem's all over the country doing his comedy, which is a great act. You can watch, like I do, online. You can find clips all over the place of Bassem Youssef, but...
Yeah, and you're coming to my show in New Jersey.
No way, I don't go to New Jersey.
What?
I'm an Italian from Queens. I don't go to Jersey.
I know, but I'm doing my show there. Come on.
Where is it? And when?
New Jersey, a performing arts center in the 16th February. We sold out the first show. It's 3,000 seats. We already sold out the first show. We have to come.
Can you get me a seat to the first show?
Yeah.
All right. That's
I'll get you a seat on the stage.
I like special treatment.
I'm gonna give you like a box.
And I'm easy to make fun of.
No. I want you to come to the show.
We look like cousins anyway.
You know what I mean? Mediterranean, baby, Italian and Egyptian.
we got the hair going.
We're across the Mediterranean.
So when I watch the Piers thing, I've known Piers Morgan for a long time. I actually was after him at CNN. When Piers left, I wound up having Piers' slot. And I spoke to him. I saw him in the UK at some point. And it was such a shock to me how resonant it was. Not because it didn't make sense, not because it wasn't cogent or anything. There was just such a hunger. And then, you know, you had the whole rematch face-off, which I loved, that he went out to see you in L.A., and it was great. But I was very surprised that after that, you didn't seek a new platform for yourself to discuss issues that are ongoing in that regard. Why haven't you? I know you're doing your show, but...
I am... everything is new to me. When I left Egypt in 2014 and I came here, I lost everything. I have nothing, and I had to start all over again. And only 5 years ago, I started doing stand-up comedy in English. And at the beginning, it was bad, of course, because you start something new and bad. I'm 5 years old. In comedy, tell them that's your age. How long you've been doing comedy? 5 years. You're 5 years old. So I'm still an infant. So I still got my hour kind of like tight. And now I have all of these tour dates and I'm doing it. So everything is coming down very quickly. And I'm between, like, I want to sell my special, I want to tour. And also I want to take my time in the platform because, I don't want to be, you know how people will say, oh, you're capitalizing on the thing, you're doing that. But I don't want to be put in a position where I'm an activist because I was politically burned in Egypt because people put that much pressure on me. Guys, I'm a comedian.
You can watch a documentary about it. It's called Tickling Giants.
Yes.
And it's very interesting. I followed it as it was happening. And I was surprised. You know, I didn't expect the Americans to be outraged by it. The moniker for Bassem was that he was Egypt's Jon Stewart. And Stewart embraced you. He has been his own comeback here now by choice. And the work, here's the thing. Can you be exploiting a situation for advantage? Yes, that's also known as America. But this is necessary, Bassem.
I know. And this is why I would rather come on shows like yours, come to kind of like speak to the audience, your audience. Because your audience and peers' audience and other people's audience, I'm not doing this to speak to my people. I don't want to be preaching to the choir. I want to cross the aisle and speak to people about things that they have believed for so long. And maybe we can have a logical, non-emotional discussion about, because what happened is full of emotions, but when you break it down, you're a reporter. I respect that so much because you can go to things that are extremely emotional and then you can calmly dissect it. The same way that I'm a doctor, I had people coming like blood everywhere. I cannot get my emotions ahead of me because I need to know where is the source of bleeding. So this is why
cardiothoracic surgeon, this whole area, and he's also certified in the United States.
Yeah.
It's always good to know a doctor.
Yeah, people used to pay me money to stab them in the chest. So anyway, so I want to reach out. I want to speak to anybody, everybody. I would go to someone who's completely opposed, and I want us to be uncomfortable, talking about everything, talking about stuff that we have believed for many years. So, for example, a lot of people say Israel is America's friend. Israel is for supporting Israel is for the best interest. And I want to challenge that because there has been, now as an American citizen, I don't think Israel is a good friend. Can you call a country a friend if they have a spy, Jonathan Pollard, who spied on America? And he was an American. He was not Israeli. He took a life sentence in 1987. And just to spy to the United States in 1995, Israel gave him the Israeli citizenship while he was in jail. That's a spite. And then he was released 2020 on a private jet sponsored by an American billionaire, Sheldon Adelson. And he was greeted at the airport by Benjamin Netanyahu. What kind of message do you give the people?
Adelson is the big Republican
yes,
fundraiser.
Yes, but like what kind of message if the head of Israel is receiving like a hero? What about the Herzog affair, 1950, 1954, where Chaim Herzog was an attaché in Israeli embassy, and he was recruiting spies with American soul, and he was tipped off that the FBI is coming to him. He escaped, and how he was rewarded? 2 times Israeli president, 1983, 1993, and he's the president of the father of the current president today. How can you call a country if the Apollo affair, where Rafi Eitan, an Israeli spy, stole 206 enriched uranium from UMEC? How can you call them? How can you call a country that committed terrorist attack, killing an American citizen in American soil, and then they fled to Israel, and they're not the JDL 1985, Alex Oda. He was Christian, Palestinian American, and he was assassinated by 3 members of the JDL. And they escaped to Israel, and America could not get them back because Israel does not want to deliver. How can you call someone who commit an attempted assassination on an American diplomat, John Gunther Dean, our ambassador in Lebanon, and he wrote it in his memoir, and he said they attempt, and the American did not investigate it. What is the most lethal attack on American naval vessel in history in the Middle East?
USS Cole.
How many people died?
I don't remember, but a lot. I went and covered
17. How many people injured? 37. But that's not the most lethal. The most lethal attack on American naval vessel was USS Liberty, 9th of June, 1967. They were attacked by the Israeli army, and they killed 34 American soldiers, injured 171, and they paid $6 million in compensation. This is how worth the American lives it is to them. Can we call this a friend?
Yes. And here's why.
Okay.
Because it's messy and it's a relative assessment. And you have the largest Jewish population outside of Israel is in America. Mm-hmm. And they're people of pride and prominence, and the connection politically and culturally has always been strong, and it's a relative assessment. You make a checklist going back to the 1950s of what Israel has done that was wrong, and now you have to compare it to everybody else in the region that is of any value to you, and you wind up with Israel being at the top of the heap. And look, I don't have any problem. I don't think the issue is that Israel has been misunderstood as an ally and they're an enemy. I don't think that's what it is. I think it's, what do you do when your allies are in bad situations and there's situations that are at least in part of their own causing? What do you do? The problem is right now, the American answer is absolutely nothing, or as little as possible, because America's population is exhausted.
And there you have it. Bassem dropping truth bombs left and right, while Chris is over here doing some mental gymnastics to keep the narrative in check. Honestly, it's like watching a masterclass in how to approach this messy situation with nuance instead of just shouting sound bites. Bassem's right. You can't just slap a friend on Israel when you start looking at the full picture, especially when you're talking about a country that's, let's be real, got a track record that's a little more complicated what we're fed. And yeah, Israel's relationship with America is a tough one to untangle, no doubt. But let's be honest, no friend should be out here getting caught in that much drama, right? Bassem's taking us beyond the binary debate and making us ask some real questions. So next time someone tells you it's black and white, just ask yourself, who's benefiting from this whole situation and who's paying the price? I'll leave you with that. Chew on it. And as always, let's keep the conversation going down in the comments. No easy answers here, but that's what makes it worth talking about. Please share, like, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one.